Mutta eikö aloitella sitten? Welcome today to follow this YouTube broadcast. And I'm very honored to have a wonderful guest today with To the Oceans Project. We have Jari Kuosma Birdman online, and his stories are just super exciting because just a while ago I was flying from New York to Helsinki and we came across a tornado that was hitting the area and came to the airport so that it wasn't sure that we would fly up. But Finnair took good care of us and we went right up and across the turbulence. And I was then thinking about Yari and that he flies over there without any airplane. Under him, just his parachutes and his birdman chute. And it's just amazing. So, Yari, you have so many interesting and inspiring stories of spirituality, of the oceans, of the earth, of the sky, of the winds, that I would just so much like to hear your opinions of the world in general. How do you feel about life?
Well, first of all, Sini, thank you very much for having me. I think it's really awesome to be in your show. And since you decided to start with such a small question that how I feel about the life and the world, um, I suppose it's the mix of many things. You know, sometimes it feels like a tornado that you experienced in New York, and sometimes it's absolute calm and beauty. So life I think consists of I have this kind of Eastern philosophy a little bit, you know, to life. It's a yin and yang. It's a light and dark, and it's the complex mix of both of them, which are in the absolute motion all the time, and that's how I see life and everything basically that I work with.
I have so many questions for you today, and we would like to show Birdman your story video to begin with to introduce you to the audience. And To the Oceans Project is about communicating about the oceans in a very positive, emotional way. So this project will be cooperating with Birdman Jari Kuosma in the future. And we have just begun our cooperation in the way that we share these videos, but we will also have Jari visit sometimes jumping so that we will be on live broadcast when he is in the sky. And the aspect as a human about the spirituality of his experiences is interesting equally. But of course, it's a visual experience, it's a physical experience, and he has all his skills, how he uses them in his Birdman suit in the sky. So Yari has developed this Birdman suit. So you might want to Google Birdman Jari Kuosma in all cases. But this video will introduce his work to begin with this show.
Sure, let me put it on. And for the audience that just came, please welcome. Just to let you know, the video lasts 1 minute 44 seconds, so it's not too long. And let me just, here we go, share screen.
Because no matter where you live and who you are, the one thing nobody can ever take away from you is your dream. All extraordinary things are opposed and ridiculous at first. My name is Jari Kuosma. I'm the owner and founder of Birdman Ltd, which is the creator of the first commercial wingsuit. Back in those days, almost everybody who had done this before had died. The strange guy comes from Finland with a strange suit that everybody has been afraid of. You have to do some convincing. In the beginning of the 1999, just when I was about to start this wingsuit company, I was telling about the idea to my friends, more experienced friends. I remember they were laughing at my face. They just thought that I had completely lost it. Jumping, of course, the first time you had to overcome your fears and you had to be absolutely convinced that you would do better than all those other guys. you have to think of yourself that, am I willing to do this? Am I willing to risk everything what I have, which is right? It take that leap of faith. I knew it was working right away. I felt this incredible freedom. It was the best moment of my life. I knew that this was the future. Now we know it.
And that is just amazing, Yari. Just I could just feel the freedom in the sky. And even though the voice was a bit low, but you can just so visually go inside this experience, like free fall, absolute freedom. But at the same time, you must be so skilled to control the elements of the air and the turbulence and the huge forces of nature in the way that you can survive in these falls. So please tell us more about the feeling, the body feeling when you are in the free fall in the sky above the oceans.
You're absolutely right about that. It requires lots of skills and feelings, and in fact, to get back in touch with your feelings. So when we are born as a baby and we come to this new world, we probably feel lots of different kind of things, cold, warm, pain from different kind of things. The light probably to our eyes is probably hurting, and the sounds to our ear are different, and it must be the scary place because everything is new. But then over the years we are covered up with all kinds of things. We are protected from all different kind of harms, at least hopefully we are. But we are protected from the cold, we are protected from the pain and all kinds of things, and we are training. So we kind of forget how it is to be in the extreme environment. And now when we are a little bit older, we might get the chance to get back in the air and step into the liquid, like I like to say, or step into the void. Um, that's a new environment completely. Free fall is completely new, and all these the extremely strong elements, like even air is extremely hostile and strong element, because if it comes to your face hundreds of kilometers an hour, it can be extremely hostile, and it can take you to a kind of spin that you lose your consciousness, and might even put so many G's in your head that you die there. Water, we have raindrops there, and when you go many hundreds of kilometers of hour forward, it can feel like a blast of shotgun. Okay, nobody ever shot me with a shotgun, but it's that's how it can feel, when those hail drops come to your face and your body. And anyway, so you have lots of different kind of things, and you have to learn how to feel those things in the right way, how to withstand those forces, how to make all those forces, which can be negative or positive. Like I said, in a yin and yang philosophy, there is no good and bad. There just are different kind of things. So you have to learn how to avoid the ones that you can't control, and control the ones, and try to seek for the ones that you can control to your advantage. And about the feelings, so there are three things that I usually tell people, main things that I feel. You can feel absolute joy, which comes from being absolutely free. So the freedom and joy, at least to me, they are absolutely go hand in hand. But that freedom which you experience there, that goes together with the responsibility. And sometimes the responsibility or the possibility that you cannot handle that responsibility can overwhelm you, and it can become a fear. And if it becomes a fear, that's when you lose ability to do anything at all. uh, navigate and feel and so on. So it can become even bigger and so on. So you can have this incredible scale of absolutely everything, you know, from absolute joy to absolute fear. And to control those aspects all the time when you are in the extreme environment is that's the key to success. And when you get that, when you don't have too much fear or not too much joy, it all feels natural. And in fact, it's quite amazing. But flying, the human being, believe me or not, feels natural. If you don't let the fear overcome you, it comes naturally to you. You just suddenly almost like remember that, okay, this is how it is to fly.
Wow, it's my head is like spinning. Like I want to try this. But one time when we spoke, you told me people have to be really trained, and that you just can't go up there and jump. You know, just not anybody can do that. You have to be well trained, and you have to need assistance up there before you're trained. So this is not like a game. It is a sport for skilled. And the same time that you develop yourself comes to mind that with the years that you've seen the earth and the oceans and the rivers and felt the sky and the free fall and all the forces of nature there, that you must have developed and opened as a person as well. Is this true? And did you feel that you came more close to who you are with these experiences by opening more to this risk by jumping?
That's a really great question, and the short answer is yes. I did have to develop all the time. Like in the beginning, I was talking about being a first baby and coming to this world. The same thing when you become a skydiver, you go to another world completely, and and anybody can do like one jump or so on with a certain type of technique, but then to become independent jumper, it's kind of like growing to the maturity as a human being. Uh, but then progressing in the sport in such a way that you become a teacher of others, and then maybe you develop your own discipline like I did and your own equipment and become the master of your own craft. I suppose the ancients call that something like knowing thyself and so on. So not only you become to know who you are physically so that you can do lots of different kind of things, but actually that melts together with your mental capabilities and everything there. And to master yourself mentally is to master yourself physically. And to be able to master yourself mentally, you have to be all the time in the physical shape as well, and overcome challenges like that. So they are in the perfect harmony also there. So yes, trying to develop and being on the road all the time of becoming better version of yourself. That's the key of not only survival but also how to thrive in this in environment that can be very dangerous, not only in the air, but it's kind of can be dangerous everywhere. Although we are living in this modern society where everything is so safe.
And controlled in many ways. And but even though we would not be able to jump like you do, and you've developed the Birdman suit, so you've taken it much more further than many skydivers. There's many who have it as a hobby, but you are very developed in the area. Um, from your stories, we learn about the freedom, because as a human, you tell us of your experiences and emotions. And this is about To the Oceans project is about communicating and sharing and hearing and listening to the other one's story to expand our own understanding of nature and oceans. And the more we do that, the more we start to care about it because we realize there's so much to find there and it's highly inspiring. And your stories to me make my imagination as well as my heart open to feel an area that is completely unknown to me, jumping from the sky. Like when I was sitting in the airplane in the turbulence, I was thinking to myself, wow, they are such good pilots. They keep us safe here, but how would I ever cope to be without this shield of the airplane? Those conditions are for you. You are there without the shield. And you told me a story how you can use turbulences and the winds and the airs and the sweeps up there for your benefit. And I thought this was really interesting. So what if you come across a turbulence like I did in a tornado in New York? What would you do up in the air in your Birdman suit?
Well, first of all, if there was a tornado, I would like to try to avoid it.
So
But
did we, but impossible.
but if I was about to find myself at the edge of that, that's something is to how to find the advantage in any situation. If you know enough about your environment and things what's going on, and you have control of yourself, then you can put yourself into right kind of wave of life, and air is kind of like a thin water that you can see as well, and all kinds of motion in the air is kind of like motion of the water in the river as well. So you can put yourself into the right kind of wave, and you can find the wave that is favorable for you. And for example, if you want to go to certain direction, you can go much faster if you ride the edge of the let's say weather phenomenon like hurricane or something like that, the big storm. You can find thermals which is upward going air, and it's warm, so it can give you extra lift and it can give you extra speed, and but you have to be also understand that that will take you much further to some direction where you are flying. And then we of course come to these philosophical questions that, are you ready to go that far, and how far that can take you, and so on. But yeah, it would be good to avoid it. Or if you're a thrill seeker like me, you are going to be searching for it actually, so that you can test yourself how fast and how far you can go.
I believe often to the combination of the non-visible and visible being always together. This is my own personal belief. It's not something that I would say is a general belief, but it's my personal way to look at things. And from that aspect, I feel curious to know how the physical feeling is a spiritual experience up in the sky, especially regarding nature. Um, the elements of fire, earth, water, wind, movement, all together. But I often think of fire becoming like the reproductive, or the generating phenomenon, so that the other ones are more stable there in the movement, like always there, not stably in one place, but always there. So, how would you feel about this unity of the non-visible and visible from your own aspect? And do you feel the same when you have these experiences in the free fall for such a long time in your life?
Absolutely. That's a something that I have probably kind of experienced and realized since I was a kid, and always tried to become better at understanding all these elements and to harmonize them. And when you talk about the fire, I think it was the Carl Jung, at least one of those people who kind of put together that fire is same as intuition. And for me, it was always that if you put those four elements together, you can get the fifth one, and which would be more like something called the sixth sense, or something like that, which is exactly that kind of trusting of the unknown, and being able to trust that and get actually the right results more often than not non-often. And for me was when we were talking about this kind of sensations before. Feelings are one thing, but then the sensations like feeling the G forces and temperature changes and the pressure changes and so on. There have been many moments in my life when I had to completely trust those senses. When I have not been able to see, for example, you are in the cloud or something happens and goes over your eyes and you can't see at all. You can't trust, you don't have necessarily all kinds of equipment that tells you about the directions in the air, north and south and so on, and you are in the place where you really have to know where you go. So you just have to trust your so-called sixth sense, and that means that you trust yourself. You have to have a complete faith and trust in yourself and your training and so on, and it's kind of like a muscle almost, that the more you practice these kind of things, the better they start working. And so I guess to your long answer to your question, but it has been very important for me to try to train these kind of muscles.
It's funny, I've known you for a long time, since we were young in school, and you always spread such joy about you and speak of the life force, the joy of life. And in the jumps, you come across the near death experiences sometimes. And you've told me that the more you've seen that element, there is no rush towards any risk of losing one's life, but you more feel the life force from understanding the value of life in this, how delicate that can be to lose it. So this to me is really inspiring, and you have such a happy and fun personality that we've had so many laughs, and I always admire this freedom that you have developed in this field that you have chosen. So you're a great teacher to us all in about having this positive, free attitude towards life, and also very spiritually inspiring to understand that you look at the Mother Earth from the sky, and we've seen the oceans and the rivers and the forest and all kinds of phenomena and animals in the sky and these nature elements. So you're just like a long series of books of stories that we just want to hear more of. So in this video, I would like to tell people that we will have Yari many times to tell us stories, also live into the Oceans Project for the future. And is there something else in images that you would like to share us today in this broadcast?
Well, I do have another video here about 1 minute long, if you want to see it, and it's
Yes,
about.
that would be very nice.
I was just mentioning briefly that the sky is kind of like your project code is the oceans for oceans to the oceans, and I do see air as oceans, but they are just thinner oceans, and I'm a diver as well. But I show you something about how it looks from my eyes to fly among the clouds. If you want, it takes about 60 seconds.
Absolutely.
Here we go. I think I might be able to. There is no talking or something like that. So wait.
You can also comment in the background if you like while it's on. We have our audios on the same time. And we have about 10 minutes left. So this
Now on
is
the background, and these clouds can be huge, huge. I mean, it's unbelievable. You're a small dot there.
how do they feel when you're up there flying?
Sometimes
And
they
do
can
you
feel
feel
very
cold?
wet. Sometimes they feel very warm. And look, there's a halo. That's pretty cool. I can see my own reflection.
Oh, wow. And so you can actually feel a cloud.
Yep.
How does it feel like? Is it like soft, or how does it feel on the skin?
Oh, it may feel like it depends, of course, on the temperature and so on, but it may feel like just a bamboo cotton, so very, very soft and nice and warm, and or just slightly moisture and wet. I think that's.
And there you have the landing. And when you think about the free fall from that jump, how long did it take in time regarding? Was it like a few minutes or
When we
longer?
jump from 4,000 meters, which is normal operational altitude where we jump from, it lasts about 2 minutes as an average free fall
Okay.
with the wingsuit, and we are traveling maybe up to 10, 5, 6, 7 kilometers, depends a little bit, you know, how far, and often we are flying together, so that we call it flocking, like birds flock together. We humans can flock as well, or we can go alone and just fly those incredible clouds up there. Or of course we can just, you know, try for the performance. We can try to go, you know, as fast as possible. I mean skydiving is probably the fastest sport in the world, you know, with non-engines. You can fly with the speeds of that go beyond the sound. And the G's that we experience there can be so incredible that we break. Human body just breaks there, and the G's when acceleration and the stopping goes, so it can be extreme. It really is an extreme sport in every way.
It's very inspiring. What would be a wild story that you felt up in the sky? Did you bump into a bird or what
I never
happened?
bumped into the bird, but friend of mine bumped into a bird in Australia. Literally, he flew with had a kind of accident with an eagle, I guess, at the quite high altitude, something like 6,000 feet or 2 kilometers. And some other guys I know, they bumped into almost into something just a couple of meters away, and something came from the sky that looked like a football size of thing, and just passed them in the free fall within a couple of meters. So whatever that was, nobody knows, but it was in the news in Norway as well. And
Wow, that's like it's really interesting, and it's like you're completely in the free element of the air. You never know what will happen up there.
absolutely, just like the oceans, when you go diving down there and you find all these amazing fish and animals and octopus and things that are alive there, and they don't really care about you at all. Just it's another world. But I guarantee you, going up there, that's another world as well.
Yeah, it's so interesting that you have both of those elements, the sky and the oceans, the
Mhm.
waters, that you dive in there, but you also jump from the sky. Really inspiring. And especially when we think about your life, um, life offers us different things when it goes on earth and in our dreams and in our wishes, and we change along the years. We are completely different people now at the age over 50 than we were at the age of 15, and then comes 30, and then comes at some time after 54, or our age will be 70, and hopefully more years after that. So it goes really fast, you know, these times. And why not put yourself out to the freedom and try? And this sport is very difficult, it's risky, but your stories itself are enough to let us fly with you. So
I'm happy
it's
to
very
share
inspiring.
that with the audience. And yeah, it's kind of like being a living in the paradox, and that's an interesting place to experience in life. You know, the external things and internal things, that's the same thing. So to have and balance those two things, and I believe that there are many ways to experience that and do such a thing, but one of them is to be exposed to the extreme environments, one way or the other. And I guess some people are lucky to be kind of born something like that, and be more balanced in the nature, and because of the background or whatever. But you know, sometimes we need to train really, really hard in order to even understand that there is that other side.
Absolutely. And just a quick story. One time long ago, I was in a self-defense class, which was one of my favorite hobbies, Defendo, the Scandinavian self-defense, and I really enjoyed it very much. And there was this man who was opposite me, who was older than I was, and he was able to use the energies in the way that he surprised me, how far I would fly in the air. And he would just push a little bit like that with his arms and hands, and I would fly free fall like 3 or 4 meters, straight in the air on the floor. And when I was on the floor, I said, "How did you do that?" And he said, "I didn't even begin yet."
Right.
So I was like, okay, we are now with the element of the unknown, like the energies that he would use with his hands and his body. At the same time, I would fly in the air. And I remember everything being so slow, like a slow movie when I was up there. Like I just had so many awakenings, like understanding, full feeling of safety, even though I did not know where I would land. So there was no fears up there. And something was just so natural and so self-explanatory and so slow motion. At the same time, I had these spiritual awakenings. Everything was like in clarity, which was a really interesting experience, even though I was in a threat situation of being hit and flying.
Mhm.
So I do believe that there is something in our physical body, the human side, that we just have some tendencies and elements regarding risk situations where we have some spiritual connection as well, because there are so many stories about it. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's an essential thing, is to the ability to balance all the different, let's call them energies, different kind of energies that we consist of. Um, and then we kind of have to be able to also think that not everything is material, and maybe everything is actually just the energy. But anyway, there are many different kind of energies, and they are not necessarily in balance, all the time. And since we are birthed, they must be balanced. And one way to balance them is to experience the opposite of where they are. And so of course, for the person, like for example, I remember when I was young, I was really afraid of, let's say, loneliness and darkness, and I balanced those things. That was the first memories in my childhood, was when I was balancing those two things that I really felt bad about. So I went alone to the dark forest, and there I learned not only to be alone, but to like the dark, and that the dark was my friend, and those trees that were shadows that I thought were monsters, well, they were actually my friends, and they were guiding me, and I was never afraid of dark and being alone again.
So we kind of have to meet the devil, in quotes, and use
Exactly,
that. We
whatever the
need to
devil
go
is.
in.